Morning, Rocio. Morning, Brian. Morning, I love Panacam. Diego Madrid. That's a very nice picture, Diego. You're eating, Rocio. No, but you're only eating.
No, mister.
Oh, mister.
Peinate, Brian.
Mister todavía me debe el churro, mister.
English, who? I owe you a churro.
Very beautiful.
Morning, Catherine.
Morning.
Morning, Paris. Morning, Mario.
Morning.
Morning, Kenneth. Morning, Osman. What happened to you in English class, Osman? You were still sleeping. More or less. Okay, go to YouTube, Osman, and watch the video and leave a comment so I can take your attendance, okay? Hey, who's that? Morning, Cesar.
Good morning, mister.
Cesar, do you have two devices?
No.
We have a person waiting to log in named Cesar Ramos. To your WhatsApp, I send you the image right now. You can check your WhatsApp. Good morning, Andreita again. Lorna, good morning. Turn on the cam, please. We're 12, we're missing still 5 more. Is there electricity in your barrio? What do you mean by more or less, Christian? The answer is yes or no. You cannot have more or less electricity.
Se está yendo y viniendo.
It's going and coming back.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how about water? Do you have water in your neighborhood?
Water, yes.
Yeah, because I see many of you have not taken the shower yet.
After class.
After class. Like Italian, sin vergogna.
Yeah.
Okay. We're 13. We're missing 3 students. We're missing Henry. We're missing Moises. And we're missing who? Gilcana. Okay. Now, let's go check the questions of last class. And it was on page 270. It says, underline the information about the setting you find in lines 1 through 12. In line 9, snow, camp. In line 10, long trail, short day. If I'm going too fast, please let me know. Okay?
What page?
Okay, MAY6.
¿Qué página?
Page 270. Brian, that's why you need to be in a table, not in your bedroom, in your bed. Turn on your camera, Brian. Natalie, I cannot see you.
Ready.
Okay. What is happening in this opening scene? I had already said that the grandfather is sitting alone in the snow while the camp is a complete mess, a complete disorder, a complete chaos. Page 271. Question B. Circle the name of the characters from whose point of view we are experiencing the event. Okay. In line 23, Kukush must be circled. That's the one who's telling the story. Question. Identify some of the ideas running through this character's mind. Well, old Kukush is thinking about his children and grandchildren. He is also thinking that no matter what, he's going to die. Remember, you should be correcting the answers. I see some of you don't even have a pen in the hand. I see some others of you, well, actually, I don't see some others of you as Natalie. I can only see her hair.
Nicole.
And Rocio that turned off the light. Okay, Kenneth, I got your message. Where's Kenneth? Hey, échale. Okay, page 271, pause and reflect. Do you think Kukush is well? And why does he answer this way?
No,
Is
because
Kukush
he
well?
that he's going to die.
No, he's not well. He never complains or mentions his problems. Instead, he says that everything is fine. Like we say in Spanish, no reniega, todo está bien. Okay, page 272, author's perspective. Recall that a serious illness forced Jack London to leave Alaska. What might this experience be reflected in lines 58 to 68? Well, the fact that he had an illness and that he had to to leave Alaska gave him the opportunity to know how difficult it is for the people to live and survive in Alaska. These things that he thought about are reflected in his description of the old man's losing battle with the deadly environment in Alaska. And today's activity is read page 273 to 276 and answer the questions on page 273, 274, 275, and 276. And the homework will be the vocabulary practice and the assessment practice. Now, listen to the instruction. In a Word document, you do the classwork. You will write only the question and the answer. No, sorry. You're going to only write. When I say the question is not the complete question. It's C, outer perspective, page 272, and the answer, for saying an example. D, theme, page 273, and the answer. Pause and reflect, page 274, and the answer. D, theme, page 275, and the answer. Only the name of the question in the page and the answer. Remember, try to answer in your own words. If you go to internet to look for the answer, it's okay, but read it and put it in your own words. Don't copy paste. That is not correct. Put it in your own words. Now, the homework in another Word document. You will write the title, vocabulary practice, the number, and the answer. For example, vocabulary practice, page 278, number 1, beautiful. For an example, I don't know if the word beautiful is even in the word list. On page 279, you will write assessment practice, page 279, the number of the question, the letter of the correct answer, and the answer. For example, number 1, E, it is fun. Remember, I've given you an example. You only have options A, B, C, and D. There is no E. Okay, you understand that? Everybody? Good, great. Now let's go back to page 272. After letter C, he says he did not complain. It was the way of life, and it was just, he had been born close to the earth. Close to the earth had he lived, and the law thereof was not new to him. It was the law of all flesh. Nature was kindly to the flesh. She had no concern for the concrete thing called the individual. Her interest lay in the species, the race. This was the deepest abstraction all Kokush's barbaric mind was capable of. But he grasped it firmly. He saw it exemplified in all life. The rise of the sap, the bursting greenness of the willow bud, the fall of the yellow leaf. In this alone was told the whole history. But one task that nature set the individual. Did he not perform it? He died. Did he perform it? It was all the same. He died. Nature did not even care. There was plenty who were obedient. And it was only the obedience in this matter, not the obedient which lived and lived always. The tribe of Kokush was very old. The old men he had known when boy had known all men before them. Therefore, it was true that the tribe lived, that it stood for the obedience of all its members, way down into the forgotten past, whose very resting places were unremembered. They did not count. They were episodes. They had passed away like clouds from a summer sky. He also was an episode and would pass away. Nature did not care. To life, she set one task, gave one law. To perpetuate was the task of life. Its law was death. A maiden was a good creature to look upon, full breasted and strong, with spring to her step and light in her eyes. But her wrath was yet before her. The light in her eyes brightened, her step quickened. She was not old, bold with the young men, now timid, and she gave them of her own unrest. And ever she grew fairer and yet fairer to look upon, till some hunter, able no longer to withhold himself, took her to his lodge to cook and toil for him, and to become the mother of his children. And with the coming of her offspring, her looks left off, her limbs dragged and shuffled, her eyes dim and bleared, and only the little children found joy against the withered cheek of the old squaw by the fire. Her task was done, but a little while, on the first pinch of the famine or the first long trail, and she would be left, even as he had been left, in the snow with a little pile of wood. Such was the law. Natalie, could you answer question D, please? Yes, Natalie. I cannot listen to you, Natalie.
I'm thinking, mister.
You're thinking. Okay.
Um, okay. Um, I don't know, mister.
You don't know why you don't know.
Um,
Okay, question says, underline Kuku's thoughts about nature, then summarize the theme expressed here about relationship between nature and the individual. So what are we going to underline? Lines 72, 73, and 74 until the race. Got it? Again, you're going to underline lines 72, 73, and 74 until the race. You will also underline lines 78, but one task until line 82, lived always. Okay. Now you know what you have to underline. Now you analyze that and you write the answer. Summarize the theme expressed here. He placed his stick carefully upon the fire and resumed his meditations. It was the same everywhere with all things. The mosquitoes vanished with the first frost. The little trees crawled away to die. When age settled upon the rabbit, it became slow and heavy, and could no longer outfoot its enemy. Even the big bald face grew clumsy and blind and quarrelsome in the end to be dragged down by a handful of yelping huskies. He remembered how he had abandoned his own grandfather on an upper reach of the Klondike one winter. The winter before the missionary came with his talk books and his box of medicines. Many a time had Kokush smacked his lips over the recollection of that box, though now his mouth refused to moisten. The painkiller had been specially good, but the missionary was a bother after all, for he brought no meat into the camp, and he ate heartily, and the hunters grumbled, but he chilled his lungs on the divide by the mayo, and the dogs afterwards nosed the stones away and fought over his bones. Kokush replaced another stick on the fire and harkened back deeper into the past. There was the time of the great famine when the old man crouched empty bellied to the fire and let fall from their lips dim traditions of the ancient day when the Yukon ran wide open for 3 winters and then lay frozen for 3 summers. He had lost his mother in that famine. In the summer, the salmon run had failed, and the tribe looked forward to the winter and the coming of the caribou. Then the winter came, but with it, there were no caribou. Never had the like been known, not even in the lives of the old man, but the caribou did not come, and it was the 7th year, and the rabbits had not replenished, and the dogs were not but bundles of bones, and through the long darkness the children wailed and died, and the women and the old man, and no 1 in 10 of the tribe lived to meet the sun when it came back in the spring. That was famine. But he had seen times of plenty too, when the meat spoiled on their hands, and the dogs were fat, and the worthlings worth overeating. Times when they let the game go unkilled, and the women were fertile, and the lodges were cluttered with sprawling men, children, and women children. Then it was the man became high stomached and revived ancient quarrels and crossed the divides to the south to kill the Pellies and to the west that they might sit by the dead fires of the Taranus. He remembered when a boy during the time of plenty when he saw a moose pulled down by the wolves. Singa lay with him in the snow and watched. Singa, who later became the craftiest of hunters and who in the end fell through in hard hole on the Yukon. They found him a month afterward, just as he had crawled halfway out and frozen stiff to the ice. Pause and reflect. How is the tribe more warlike when it is well fed? Brian, remember the questions of pause and reflect, you will not find the answers in the book. It's your own reflection. And the question is basically, why, when the tribe is with the big belly, that they're not hungry, why are they more quarrelsome? How do you feel when you're hungry? Diego. At what time do you have lunch? At what time do you have lunch, Diego?
12, 1, I don't know.
At 12. And what happens if it's 12:30 and you're hungry and you have not eaten lunch? How do you feel?
Angry.
I already said it, Brian. You're hungry. It's
Angry.
12:30. Angry, angry. Ah, yes, angry.
Desesperado.
Desperate. And what would happen is it's 5 o'clock and you have not eaten lunch and you're still hungry. How would you feel?
Sick.
Who said that? Who said sick?
Weak.
Weak. Rocio said weak. And what would happen if you go to bed and you have not had lunch either? And what would happen if next day you wake up and you did not have lunch and you have not dinner and you have not dinner and now you will not have breakfast? You will feel weak. And when you are weak, do you want to fight?
No.
No. Okay. So just work out the idea I gave you, and that's the answer for cause and reflect. Let's continue. But the moose, seeing and he had gone out that day to play at hunting after the manner of their fathers. On the bed of the creek, they struck the fresh track of the moose, and with it the tracks of many wolves. And one old Singa who was quieter at reading the sign said, "An old one who cannot keep up with the herd. The wolves have cut him out from his brothers, and they will never leave him." And it was so. It was their way. By day and by night, never resting, snarling on his heels, snapping at his nose, they would stay by him to the end. How Singha and he felt the bloodlust quicken, the finish would be a sight to see. Eager-footed, they took the trail, and even he, Kokush, slow of sight and an unversed tracker, could have followed it blind. It was so wide. Hot were they on the heels of the chase, reading the grim tragedy, fresh written, and at every step. Now they came to where the moose had made a stand, thrice the length of a grown man's body in every direction. But the snow been stamped about and uptossed. In the mist were the deep impressions of the splay hoof game, and all about everywhere were the lighter footmarks of wolves. Some, while their brothers harried the kill, had lain to one side and rested. The full stretch and press of their bodies in the snow was as perfect as though made the moment before. One wolf had been caught in the wild lunge of the maddened victim and trampled to death. A few bones well picked bore witness. See, this part is just give me a second. Moises, can I see you, please? I allowed you to come in. It's missing 10 minutes for the class to finish. Just to ask you a question, I need to see you, please. I only see your wall. So fix your camera. The question is, why you come 30 minutes late?
I have problem with the internet right now, mister.
You have problems with what?
With the internet.
You know that you will have to go to YouTube to see the video, right?
Yeah.
And that you will have to leave a comment, right?
Yeah.
To take your attendance. Okay? You are patas arriba. Now, there you are. Okay. Again, they seized the uplift of their snowshoes at a second stand. Here the great animal had fought desperately. Twice had he been dragged down, as the no attested, and twice sorry, I was reading something else. Again, they seized the uplift of their snowshoes at a second stand. Here the great animal had fought desperately. Twice had he been dragged down, as the snow attested, and twice had he shaken his assailants clear and gained footing once more. He had done his task long since, but none the less was life dear to him. Singha said, "It was a strange thing. A moose wants down to get free again, but this one certainly had." The shaman would see signs and wonder in this when they told him. Question E. Underline what Singha says about the moose. And I will provide you that answer. Underline lines 178, 77, and 78. Singha said it was a strange thing. A moose wants down to get free again, but this one certainly had. And then we have the question, what does this conflict between the moose and the wolves show about how living things react to attacks? Well, that one you answered. Remember here, I interrupted myself explaining that when Moises was asking to come in. The moose is doing what? What is the moose doing? Cesar?
I am reading, mister.
Okay, okay. Turn off the music.
Yeah.
Wants down to get free again.
He's trying to get free again.
Yes.
Free of what?
Huh?
Free of what? Free of what or free of who?
Free again.
Yeah, but free of what or free of who?
Free of what?
Brian, I see that you have the answer. Tell me, Brian. You have it in the tip of your tongue. I know that was your finger. That was your finger. Catherine.
They track the fish track of a moose.
I'm asking what's the moose trying to do? And you answer me they. They is somebody else because the moose is trying to save himself or itself because he is being followed by who? by the wolves. And why are the wolves following him? Because they want to eat the moose. So the moose actually is trying to survive. What's the conflict? The conflict is that the wolves want to eat the moose, and the moose is trying not to get eaten. Now, we identify this conflict. Now, what does this conflict between the moose and the wolves show about how all the living things react to attacks? Explain that, and you do it. Okay, guys, you finish reading. Remember, all the monitor your comprehension questions in one Word document, and you upload it, and the other is the homework in another Word document, and you upload it to Edmodo. Remember, you have until Friday at 4:59 p.m. to answer it. I noticed that many of you uploaded. The quicker, the better for you. Take your time to do it. That's why I give you time. If you have questions, I am available to questions Monday to Friday, only from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m.
Mister,
Yes.
en el modo sale que es para mañana a las 5 de la tarde.
Mañana jueves.
Sí.
Okay, so it's for tomorrow. I'm sorry about that. That was my mistake. That was my mistake. Okay. Take care. I love you a lot, all of you. I miss you. See ya. Yeah, I love you too, Brian.
Literature. The class was like 14 minutes for starting and for tomorrow.